line position. And I was actually telling Culture Nuanez on Nuanez Now a couple of weeks ago that actually, I think this was 2 weeks ago now, maybe last week. No, last week I think he was on vacation. So 2 weeks ago now, I think I told him that I feel like it feels like the offensive line can be really, really good this year. It kind of feels like the offensive line could be good this year. They look like they're coming off the ball more during the spring game. It looks like, they have an understanding of, what the coach, is trying to get across from them. Like, it seems like they're hearing the message. It seems like they're all understanding the message. Now, obviously, it's going to take more than, a couple of snaps during the spring game to show good offensive line play. Good offensive line play has to be seen week in and week out. But I think they got good bodies to do it as well. So looking at the offensive line position, I kind of highlighted like 5 to 6 guys who I think really are fitting of guys who are going to be in that on that offensive line. And then obviously there's other guys on that line who could, but it feels like these are the guys who really are going to anchor that offensive line, in my opinion. So first you got Austin Bueller, a redshirt junior. I put up their roster in here as well. I put up the roster so that I can look at these weights and sizes of these offensive linemen to give you guys an idea of how heavy how tall and how heavy these guys are. But Austin Bueller, I believe he's not necessarily a Missoula guy, but I know he's been around for a minute. Is he even in here? Something's not right. Something isn't right here. Give me just a second. I'm so sorry. Maybe I should have just done an alphabetical order. That would have helped me out a ton if I just did it off alphabetical order. But Austin Bueller, let's find I can't find him. Is he still on the team? He's not on the roster here. This is troubling, actually. It's actually really troubling because I was just looking at this the other day, and I promise I wouldn't have wrote him down. I wouldn't have written him down if he wasn't in here. So the fact that he's not on the roster here, maybe I'm just missing him. Like sometimes, your eyes do that thing where you just look past something. Oh, there he is. So it's not. Either way, he was in the wrong place. Austin Bueller, 6'5", 285 pounds. He is actually a Capital guy. I knew he was a Montana guy. So Austin Bueller is one. Lucas Freitas is another one who I think is going to anchor that offensive line. If you guys remember from the spring game with what's his name? Lucas Freitas. Man, that's how my brain works. 6'6", 318 pounds, so he's a big body. But if you remember from the spring game, if you guys are paying attention, Lucas Freitas was one of the only ones who was going from, they had like, what was it, black team and maroon team? I can't remember what the teams were, but Lucas Freitas was playing on both teams. So whether they think he needs the reps, whether they know, I don't know why they were doing that. I don't know why they were getting him so many reps, but he was on the one offense. He was on anytime the team was on offense, he was on the offensive line, at least for the beginning, before they got some of the younger guys in. He was switching jerseys, and he was going from side to side. So I don't know what that means. If it means he needs reps, then sure. But he's another guy who I feel like is going to have to show up on this offensive line. I feel like he can show up on this offensive line this year. Dylan Jemtgaard, the graduate student. I can't remember exactly where Dylan Jemtgaard is from, but I got him right here, 6'4", 281 pounds. His previous school was Cal. He's originally from Yelm High School in Yelm, Washington. But obviously a P4 guy for whatever reason, it didn't work out at Cal, and he's at Montana now. He's somebody who I feel like being a graduate student, and I do want to point out, just because you're a graduate student, just because you got time in, does not necessarily mean that, you are going to anchor, you are going to be a good player. It might be that, you wanted last year to get an opportunity maybe to play. We don't know why he's leaving. We don't know why he left Cal, but we do know that he's at Montana now. And I'm trying to pull up his bio here, and it's not one to show me his bio, so whatever. But yeah, Jemtgaard is another one. 6'4", 280, I think is what I said. Jack D'Ambra. So if you remember, Jack D'Ambra was the one who transferred from San Diego. So he's the one. Remember, they actually had 2 San Diego guys commit. Oh, now it wants to show me Jemtgaard. Right. I don't need that anymore. Sometimes computers, man. But if you guys remember, Jack D'Ambra was the one who transferred from San Diego. They actually had 2 guys transfer from San Diego. Jack D'Ambra, I think he plays center. I think he was center it says offensive line, but I think he was a center at San Diego. It says he only appeared in 5 games on the offensive line for San Diego, helped open up holes for USD offensive PFL academic. So he was on the academic honor roll. He's another guy who has played at this level. Obviously, he played in the Pioneer League, but he played at this level, and he has experience. I think one really important thing I think about offensive linemen is just like experience, just being able to say you have done it or having had done it at the college level is really, really important to me. And whether you did it at a successful level, whether you didn't do it at a successful level, it seems like Jack Diambra hasn't played a full season since 2023. Said he appeared in 11 games. He was an All PFL honorable mention as a sophomore starter. 2024, he only appeared in 7 games. As a junior, and then last year as a senior, he only appeared in 5 games. So for some whatever reason, maybe he was injured, maybe he's been dealing with some things, but he hasn't played a full season since 2023. But he was all conference honorable mention when he did play. Wyatt Stanford, Carroll transfer. He's not on roster yet. Yeah, I would love to. I would love to know about him. Yeah, I don't see him on here. Send me his measurables. Send his measurables in the chat. But Jack Diambra, let me mention Jack Diambra's measurables. Jack Diambra, 6'3", 290. So a lot of these guys that I've named aren't necessarily over 300 pounds. I don't know if that's a requisite that you have to be over 300 pounds, but these aren't the biggest boys. But they're just guys who I feel like are definitely in the lead seat to kind of be contributors. Another one who I think Coulter Nuanez is really high on is Dylan Drummond, 6'4", 305 pounds, redshirt sophomore. His previous school was UNLV. I can't remember exactly why Coulter said he was so high on Dylan Drummond, but I think he's really high on Dylan Drummond. He's originally from Tyler, Texas. Love my offensive lineman to be from the South, man. But I don't know if he's played. I don't know if he's played a ton. I played in all 14 games as a backup guard for the Rebels, helping them advance to the Mountain West Championship game and the Frisco Bowl. Helped the top scoring offense at Mountain West, averaging 34 points a game and 446 yards per game total. Appeared in 2 games. Yeah, so he hasn't played a ton. But he is a younger guy. He's a redshirt sophomore this year, so he's got time to grow and learn, and we will see what he's able to bring to the table. But I think he's somebody who's going to be important on this offensive line as well. The sixth offensive lineman I mentioned in my notes that I kind of had highlighted. Now, obviously, Matt Hilden, Quinion Hyatt, Lincoln Hoffer. I think Lincoln Hoffer is actually going to be – he might be a freshman, incoming freshman. I feel like I'm – no, maybe not Lincoln Hoffer. Either way, and then Kai Koa Kanakaole – is a redshirt freshman. But then Carter Bowen, the senior. I can't remember where Carter Bowen is from. It says it in here. If I can find him. Carter Bowen, 6'7", 318 pounds. He comes from Butler, CC, so he's coming from a community college in Kansas. He's originally from Minnesota, but Carter Bowen is a big boy, man. 6'7", 318 pounds, 6'4", 219, was All-American at Carroll. Okay, so that Carroll to Montana pipeline is looking very, very strong, man. But Carter Bowen, let's see, played in 11 games at Butler, CC, helping the Grizzlies to a 7-4 record, helped block for an offense that threw for second most touchdowns in the KJCCC league and the best fourth down conversion percentage. Played at North Dakota State College of Science as a tight end his freshman season in 2023. Okay, so he's been around the block. Played at North Dakota College of Science in 23, 24. Played at Butler CC as a sophomore. Now he's a junior. I don't think he has a red shirt. I think he's he's a senior. It says he's going to be a senior this year. It says junior right here. So he was at Montana last year. Joined the program in time for winter conditioning with 3 years to play 2 seasons. Okay, so he's got 2 seasons to go, Carter Bowen does. But Carter Bowen is going to be a senior this year, 6'7", 318 pounds. He's got the body size. Can he put it together? We will see. But that's the offensive line. Obviously, any of those other guys, and the Carroll boy you mentioned in the chat, Wyatt Stanford, they're all going to battle for the spot. I think it's between like 6 or 7 guys really to see who that starting 5 could be. But it feels like this could be a pretty decent unit. Obviously, I think they got a good coach in there. Brent Myers? I think they got a good coach in there. We'll see if they can put it all together. Now, understand a young guy could emerge as well. And also, too, one thing I want to mention about having a young guy go in there is it's not always a bad thing to have a young guy step up. If you remember Montana State last year, me and Coach talk about this all the time. They had Braden Zimmer. They threw him in there as a freshman. Did not look good early on in the season. As he got more snaps under his belt, he ended up learning the position. I don't know if he was all-conference, all-American or anything like that, but I know a ton of P4 schools were looking for his services, and he decided to stay at Montana State. That is an example of throwing a young guy out there. You got good coaching behind him, but he just doesn't have the experience, doesn't know what he's doing. Just let them learn on the job. Dylan Drummond could be a guy like that. Matt Hilden, Quinlan Hyatt, Lincoln Hoffer, any of these guys that they already have here could be candidates like that, so we'll see. But that's the offensive line.